So hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Cassandra Mendoza, and I am a training specialist with the Texas Institute for Child and Family Wellbeing at the University of Texas at Austin for the School of Social Work. And I'm here to present to you today our monthly webinar, our April webinar for the Heart Galleries of Texas. Today we have Nicole Washington, who's I'm really excited to hear for y'all to meet her. She's been really great working with us, so we're really happy. She'll be showing us about an effective program and approaches in adoption. And so Nicole Washington is the owner of CoHeart Support Services. She's also a Circle of Security parenting facilitator, a TBRI practitioner with over 20 years of experience in the child welfare system. So again, thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for being here, and go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Well, hello and welcome. Today, I am your Circle of Security Parenting Facilitator. I'll also facilitate a program called National Training and Development Curriculum that will uh, be a part of the many programs that are available for those that are fostering and adopting. So first, I want to say congratulations on your journey of adopting, whether you're fostering, whether you're adopting, whatever that phase is that you're currently encountering as a foster parent, as an adoptive parent, or a professional assisting families in finding resources. Whatever stage you're in, whatever process you're in, we are all still considered caregivers, right? And for the sake of this webinar, we will reference foster and adoptive children as our children because that's essentially what they are. And we'll indicate, or excuse me, reference ourselves as caregivers because that's who we are, whether we're in this professionally or we are the actual everyday caregiver of the child. So my intent is to share resources to address some common challenges that children and caregivers may face during and after adoption, such as building trust, building felt safety, sustaining good and healthy relationships, recognizing needs beyond behaviors, and last but not least, the importance of self-care in this entire process. So it's imperative to ensure that our children have a secure base from which they can fill their cup. However, as caregivers, we must also ensure that our cups are as full as well. And exposure to various programs and resources are imperative throughout that entire process. So as we move through time together today, you'll hear parts of certain videos that will indicate a break. Just know that we'll have time at the end of the webinar for any thoughts and any questions, if your time permits. So one of the resources that I want to share with you is a licensed program called Circle of Security Parenting. This program is a relationship-based parenting program. It's developed by Kent Hoffman, Glenn Cooper, and Bert Powell, and it is evidence and research-based. It was developed for all caregivers. The program requires 12 or more hours of implementation over an 8-week span. For the sake of our time together, I would like to take a moment to concept of the program to you. I ask that you be open in our child's life. I do understand that the journey with our children may have begun like at various ages. However, building a new base can reap so many rewards. Here's an introduction video that will provide you more insight about Circle of Security parenting.
Okay.
For caregivers. So let's get started. What is Circle of Security? It's a program that was developed with the goal in mind of finding ways to enhance secure attachment and caregiving relationships Because as caregivers, we all want to do the best we can. And of course, we want to have secure relationships with our children. But what does that mean to enhance secure attachment? So we all want to have secure relationships, but here's the problem. Children don't come with an owner's manual. And it can be hard to know how to respond to the difficult behaviors and how to manage them. And of course, every child is different. But here's the good news. Children are born experts on the circle security. Circle security is like an owner's manual that's been written by your child. Learning how to use the circle security helps us to figure out caring ways to get the job done. Because it's no secret, caregiving can be the hardest job on the planet. Having an owner's manual makes it easier to know the questions to ask that can help us find helpful answers. But sometimes when we're trying to make sense of what's going on with our children, the way we ask the question can get in our way of finding caring ways to help. What's wrong with my child? Why do they keep doing this? Why don't they listen? What does my child want from me? We all want to get it right. So what if we ask the question in a different way? The Circle Security Roadmap helps us ask the question in a different way. When we think about behavior, we think about reinforcing the behavior we like. We might use stickers or treats or give compliments. And when we think about behavior we don't like, we try to find ways to stop that behavior. We might do things like timeouts or spankings or ignoring the behavior. Circle Security gives us a way to think differently about either trying to reward the behavior we like or trying to get rid of the behavior we don't like. The circle is about thinking outside of the box. And when we start to use the Circle Security Roadmap, we start to switch the focus. And instead of focusing on the behavior as trying to figure out what to do with it, we start to focus on the behavior as communication of a need and a need within the relationship. Let's take a tour of the circle and watch an introduction to Circle Security parenting.
Parents, we all wonder if we're getting it right. We want to know we're meeting our children's needs, helping them grow, and giving them all that we can. We try to combine our own experience of being parented with the advice of others and our own instincts and beliefs about what is best. And still, we so often worry that we're not succeeding. In a world that is always offering the next best parenting solution, the circle of security is based on decades of attachment research. Unlike many behavioral perspectives, it offers relationship tools to provide a new way of understanding your children's needs, creating lasting security for them and more satisfaction for you. The circle graphic has been created to help you know what to look for, so you can read your children's behavior to guide you in meeting their needs. It's really not complicated. People of all ages have attachment needs. These needs can be divided in 3 ways. Let's look at this child. First, he needs to know the freedom and confidence to go out and explore his world. Second, he needs to feel assured that whenever he's ready, he can come back for comfort and protection. Third, he needs his caregiver to be in charge in a kind way. 3 basic needs that can be thought of as going out on the circle, coming in on the circle, and hands on the circle. Let's have a look in more detail. Feeling safe and supported, our children want to discover their world. When going out, they need to know that their exploration is encouraged, that we're right there watching over them, delighting in them, offering help when needed, and ready to enjoy their new adventures with them. And when they're coming in, they need us to refill their emotional cup. This means organizing their emotions and letting them know we are delighted to welcome them back, protect, comfort, and understand them. The key for us as parents is to remain strong and kind while knowing when to encourage their going out into the world and how to be available to welcome them back to us. It's crucial that we learn to identify our children's needs like this, because misreading them, or worse, missing them altogether, can cause pain and frustration. We all know how uncomfortable it can be to be held too close when we want to be out exploring, or kept at a distance when we need emotional support, or simply to be without someone who is bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind, who we can trust to understand what we need when we're feeling lost, confused, or out of control. When a child misbehaves, the cause is often rooted in how safe and secure they're feeling. So it's not surprising that they behave well when a parent learns to tune into their child's needs on the circle in this way. And because our needs on the circle never disappear, learning to read cues can help you better understand and meet the needs of people of all ages, including your own. So that's all there is to it. Just know that at any given moment, your child is somewhere on the circle asking you to meet a need. Support my going out. Welcome my coming in. Be the hands that keep me safe by staying in charge and committed to helping me feel connected. And please remember this, there's no such thing as perfect parenting. At Circle of Security, we've come to realize that good enough is, well, good enough. All of us are going to miss needs on the circle time and again. Welcome to the club. But if we meet our children's needs enough of the time, the results will be happier, healthier, more secure children, and parents too.
This video is available on our website, and it's also available on YouTube and Vimeo if you're interested. The Circle Security Roadmap helps us to shift from asking the question, what does this child want from me? Because when we ask the question like that, what does this child want from me? It can be hard to make sense of this behavior, and things start to look really random, and it's hard to make sense of what's going on. But if we start to use the roadmap and we ask, what does my child need? We can shift from asking the question to now having an answer. Oh, I see what they need. I'm using the roadmap. It's very easy to understand. I can start to see that there's a pattern that's emerging. When we start to make sense of the behavior and we begin to see the underlying need, and we see the pattern of going out on the top of the circle, coming back in on the bottom, it's an emerging pattern and it makes it look safe and it feels predictable. And this is a good thing. So Circle Security offers us a way to see things differently. And because attachment is so intuitive, Circle Security has circled the globe. It's now been translated into 14 different languages, and it's available in more than 30 countries with more than 25,000 facilitators that have been trained all around the world. And the interesting thing is that as the circle travels the world, at our core, we all have these same needs. Learning to read the map is an intuitive process, and it's easy to think, I now understand the Circle of Security. But what good is a roadmap when you're in the heat of the storm with your child? How does Circle of Security address problems like crying children, tantruming, screaming, refusing? You need so much more than a roadmap to be able to respond to these kinds of difficult behaviors. There's many more layers yet to learn and understand. Thank you for taking time for this introduction to the Circle of Security Parenting. For more information, you can visit us at our website at circleofsecurityinternational.com. If you're watching with a Circle of Security Parenting facilitator, now's the time to ask questions about how you can find out more about this program. Thank you for your time, and I wish you well on your journey learning more about the Circle of Security.
So as indicated in the video, I would like to just reiterate that Circle of Security enhances secure attachments in caregiving relationships. However, it can be challenging at times to manage certain behaviors and even to respond appropriately because we're human. However, our kids have an innate ability to be a part of the circle in their going out and in their coming back in. The way that we respond to challenging behaviors makes all the difference in the process. We either can help them or hinder them. For example, asking our child, what is wrong with you, comes easily for some of us. I know for me it does, in all transparency. But the circle has played a part in me asking, what do you need from me? And even how can I help you? I remember when my daughter was very young, We went out. We went out of the house for some playtime. We had with the intent of her playing and me watching, right? But I kept noticing that she kept coming back to me. I also remember me saying, "Go play. I am right here. Why do you keep coming back to me over here? Go play." Well, after attending Circle of Security Parenting training, I learned that it was a part of the attachment process. And it really makes sense why she needed to come in, go out, come back in. So think of a time, I want you to think of a time when you as an adult have been away from your own home or your family for a long period of time, maybe in an unfamiliar place, with unfamiliar people, with unfamiliar things. The only thing we think is what? I can't wait to get back home. Why? Because that's our safe place, right? That's our secure base. You essentially are your child's safe place. Of us, our child is just now getting to feel that we are their safe place. We want to encourage more of that feeling. And so, as we know, being safe and feeling safe, those are two different things. We as humans are more inclined to seek out a person that makes us feel safe rather than someone who looks safe. For example, we're taught as kids, or even now, if we're in trouble, go find someone in a uniform. But if we had a choice to run to a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a friend, whom we know, whom we trust to keep us safe, more than likely that is literally who we're going to run to every time. So that is your child on the circle. So I want to take a minute to look at our first handout. And this handout is called The Difference That Makes a Difference. You'll also receive a copy of this handout as well. So in that handout, it indicates after 60 years of research, we know that the more secure children are, the more they are able to enjoy more happiness with their parents, feel less anger at their parents, turn to their parents to help when in trouble, solve problems on their own, get along better with friends, have lasting friendships, solve problems with friends, have better relationships with brothers and sisters, have higher self-esteem, know that most problems will have an answer, trust that good things will come their way, and trust the people they love. It also allows them to know how to be kind to those around them. So I'd like to ask you for a moment. From that list, what three abilities are very important for your child to attain first? I'm not saying that we don't need them all, but most times we know our kids, we know their bents, we know what they need over what they want. But what three out of that list um, would you like your child to attain first? Then ask yourself, what is happening to make us as parents choose those three over all the others? Right? It just kind of gives us some food for thought. These are reflective questions for you to consider later as time, and you'll get the handout as I indicated. However, I do think it encourages us to see the circle and just how our child and their needs show up on the circle. So let's do this. Let's now take a look at the second handout, and this one is about the circle. You will also receive that handout as well. So as we look at the handout, at the top of the circle, which is where our children explore, they go out. We have the opportunity to provide our children with the following moments. Watch over me. That means be available without interruptions. Be present. Delight in me, because who I am, that builds my self-worth. Help me learn new tasks as I encounter them, and enjoy with me. Take pleasure in what I am experiencing, and then come play with me when I ask. These are shared moments that show our children we are available and that we're interested in all that they are doing. So at the top of the circle, which is where our children return back to us for moments, excuse me, at the bottom of the circle, which is where our children return back to us for moments such as protect me because I may be afraid, I'm unsure, I'm a little anxious. Comfort me if I fall or get my feelings hurt, be soothing and a safe haven to me. And then delight in me for who I am again, because I always want to know that you're delighting in what I delight in. And that encourages me. Organize my feelings. That is where our children learn to trust and to share with us. The next thing on the circle we see are hands. That's another important part of the circle. As the video said, your hands support the security by always being bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind. Whenever possible, follow your child's need. Whenever necessary, taking charge. What a wonderful feeling to know that for a child to know that they have support, that somebody has their back, somebody has their front, someone's always there for them, right? Here we become increasingly aware that creating a circle of security for our children is very important to our child's development at any age or stage. So our children will need the opportunity to safely revert back to the years that they've lost, possibly due to splintered development from trauma that they have encountered. And encouraged to go out, explore, and then to come back in for us to fill their cups, their emotional cups, because they always need filling, as they seek connection with us and reassurance. They remember, we have to remember that that cycle will repeat itself over and over for many, many years to come. Even when our children turn 18, a lot of times we think they're 18, they're grown now. No, they'll always need to come back to that secure base. And what an amazing path for our children to grow stronger and create healthy relationships as they find security in us. As the video indicated, this does not require us to be perfect parents. And this is my favorite part, is to share that the only thing we have to do is be good enough. There's room for mistakes and for learning and for trying new avenues to build the parent-child relationship, which is essential to our child's life and will have lasting effects for the rest of their life. Our children need to see us make mistakes because we're human. Remember, correct those mistakes, learn from those mistakes, mistakes. And then when they see us holding ourselves accountable for the mistakes without fear or harm or fear of harm, this allows them to do the same. Another important piece of the circle is being with. Yep, if you probably guessed it right. Being present. Being present on the circle. It just means that you are doing your best to understand them in whatever they are experiencing. That we are with them and feel some of what they are feeling. This provides an experience of being safe and connected while learning about emotions, helping them to organize their feelings, to share their feelings, to know that all feelings are valid, right? As we create space for felt safety and trust, we want our children to know that all of their feelings are valid and we are a safe space for them to come back to and to share those feelings. Most times, we're good with the happy feelings. When they're happy, they're energetic. However, when our children get upset, they're angry, they're frustrated with us, it's important to be with them and not stop those emotions. Because sometimes, in all transparency, we may not feel comfortable with them expressing those feelings. And sometimes we want to pretend that those feelings don't exist. So imagine your friend made plans with you to go to an event, and for months you prepared to go. But 1 hour before the event, that friend decides they're not going because they changed their mind for whatever reason. By the way, this friend has done this to you before. You express feelings of disappointment and frustration to a different friend, maybe even a sibling, and that person says, "Oh, you shouldn't feel that way because it's not that serious. It's okay. You want to go get something to eat?" At this point, do you feel heard and or dismissed? Maybe both. The food being offered, we know it's a distraction, but it absolutely does not attend to what I am feeling. Most times people offer distractions because they are not good with others that express certain feelings. When others express certain feelings, that doesn't make them feel good. Remember, we as parents are learning and we also are teaching. In the moments that your child is upset, we're teaching them that they don't have to be alone, that they are understood, and that their feelings are valid. Helping our children to face and accept their own feelings and holding them during those difficult times is a way of helping them to manage those feelings. And over time, they learn to manage their own feelings when needed. But our children need to know that they don't have to always manage their feelings alone because there is someone there to help with this. Just like adults, children want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be supported, especially as they are sorting through their own feelings. As the introduction video indicated, there is more to the circle of security parenting than what has been discussed today. For further information, see the Circle of Security website at www.circleofsecurityinternational.com, or feel free to visit with me after the webinar. So to end this section of the webinar, I would quote from John Bowlby, aka he's the father of attachment theory. Intimate attachments to other human beings are the hub around which a person's life revolves, not only as an infant or a toddler or a school child, but throughout adolescence and years of maturity as well, and on into old age. From these intimate attachments, a person draws strength and enjoyment of life, and through what he contributes, gives strength and enjoyment to others. These are matters about which current science and traditional wisdom are at one. In essence, attachment is so important. Being on the circle is recognizing our children on the circle, their needs on the circle, excuse me, are very, very important. So another resourceful program that I mentioned to you earlier is called NTDC, the National Training and Development Curriculum. This content is adapted from the National Training and Development Curriculum for Foster and Adoptive Parents, which was funded through a cooperative agreement with the Children's Bureau, the Administration on Children, Youth, and Families, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The full curriculum can be found at www.ntdcportal.org. We will use this time to explore the trauma-informed parenting topic provided by NTDC. This topic has 4 sets of characteristics: self-awareness, self-reflection, trustworthiness, resilience, and patience, and tolerance and rejection. So we'll touch briefly on each of them. For this section of NTDC, Dr. Bruce Perry, who is a senior fellow of the Child Trauma Academy, not-for-profit organization based in Houston, Texas, and he's also an adjunct professor at the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Science at Feinberg School of Medicine at Northwestern University in Chicago, Illinois. He says that trauma-informed parenting begins with understanding how the brain is organized. Looking at the brain as an upside-down triangle. The top of the brain is the larger part of the brain and of the triangle. So the top of the brain is larger. It's responsible for thinking, language, reasoning, morals, effectively thinking, and is reflective and considers the future. The senses in our body, which help us to monitor the world as we experience it, happens through our eyes, our ears, our taste, and our touch. We receive sensory input from the outside world into our lower part of the brain. And the lower part of the brain is responsible for regulating your heart rate, your blood pressure, your stress responses. It acts without reasoning. It is not reflective at all and has no consideration about what is happening at the top part of the brain, right? And then we have the middle part of the brain, which receives like sound of voice, like you hear my voice. Your middle part of the brain receives that first. And it is a part of the emotions, which then sends it to the top of the brain, which is where we understand what we're saying. That's how we compute what's being said to us. Ironically, though, the lower part of the brain gets all the information first, then the middle part of the brain, and last, the top part of the brain. It takes work to process, and oftentimes miscommunications happen, misinterpretation, then there's confusion, which could be seen as distorted intentions, right? So Dr. Bruce Perry says that when 2 people communicate, both of their brains are really working hard to understand each other and to also respond accurately, that we're getting the information accurately, that we're responding appropriately. And we just know that we want that information to get to the top of the brain so that we're understood. But the best way to do that, and the best way to do that, and the way that is done effectively, is that the 2 people connect. When you connect with someone, you trust them. Think about it. On a daily, we receive lots and lots and lots of information. Most times, upon hearing information, we want to know, what's the source? Where did the information come from? Is it a trusted source? We make the determination to trust information based off of who is sharing that information. Otherwise, we're skeptical, right? We're skeptical. When it comes to creating opportunities to reach the learning part of the brain, there are 3 things that need to take place. First part is the regulation. We have to regulate enough to connect at at the low level parts of the brain. brain, if possible. Words like calm down, that could cause dysregulation. Regulate or calm through touch, if possible. Walking side by side with someone, modeling deep breathing until their breath syncs with your breath. The next thing is relationship. That's a higher level of connection. And it can be done through hugs, rocking, spending time together, engaging in eye contact, head nods to show that I'm interested, I'm listening, I'm present, I'm engaging. And then there's the reasoning part of the brain. The individuals are regulated and connected enough to have discussions, to express emotions, to reflect on a situation, and to learn from the situation or about the person that's sitting in front of you. I believe that we can all think of a time in our life when we operated from the bottom part of the brain, and it took a lot to get us to the top of the part of our brain. But by the time we reached to the top, chaos had already taken place. Regulation, connecting, and reasoning are not likely to happen during those times. So a dysregulated child needs to regulate, connect, be reassured, and communicate. So let's take a look at the 3 R's handout for more insight. This handout is provided by Dr. Bruce Perry. The upside down triangle represents the brain. So as we take a look at this handout, the top of the triangle represents the top of the brain. The lower part of the triangle represents the lower part of the brain. And well, we all know the middle is the middle part of the brain, right? When we take a look at this handout, we see that the 3 R's represent researching the learning the brain. Dr. Bruce Perry, a pioneer scientific, got tongue-tied there, scientist, is in the field of trauma. He has shown us that to help a vulnerable child to learn, think, and reflect, we need to intervene in simple sequences. So if you go down to the bottom of the triangle, you see there regulation is happening. This must happen first. We must help our child to regulate and calm their fight, flight, freeze responses. Just think, if a bear ran into your home, are you thinking from the top of your brain? No, most likely we're thinking from the bottom. We're thinking fight, flight, or freeze. A lot of times our children, they come to us and they are always in this fight, flight, or freeze mode. Second, we must relate and connect with our child through an attuned and sensitive relationship. So coming together, relating with them, listening to them, understanding them, so important. Third, then we go to our reason. This is where we can show support to our child by reflecting, learning, and remembering, and articulating, and becoming self-assured, giving them the opportunity to share what they thought, what they heard, or how they feel. So heading straight for the reasoning part of the brain with an expectation of learning will not work so well if the child is dysregulated and disconnected from others. I love this process so much because we are teaching our children. Also, we get to learn about our children. We get to learn from our children. We get to watch the progress and determine when additional needs pop up. Providing a rich connection that benefits both the caregiver and the child is like gold to me. Please note that there is no indication of this being easy or being perfect. However, the intent is to establish a bond that increases over time. As we're aware, our children do not have the skills to regulate on their own. And we must do all we can to assist them by co-regulating. Not always the most easiest thing. This is an external factor, that's what co-regulating is, that helps us to regulate the dysregulated. Many times we must become our child's emotional container. Here's a handout that provides a visual of what co-regulating looks like. As we can see, the parent and the child circulate regulation between themselves. So when the parent is calm, that is what circulates to the child. However, when the parent is dysregulated, it circulates to the child, and the child circulates dysregulated behavior. And then the cycle repeats. Child dysregulated, parent becomes dysregulated. Parent dysregulated, child dysregulated. But it also shows calming. Parent is calm, child is calm. Environment is calm, parent is calm, child is calm. I'd like to take a moment to listen to a short podcast from a foster parent about being an emotional container for her child. Give us one moment.
Yes, we're getting it together.
Being an emotional container. This is Diane Lanny, a foster parent in Massachusetts, and I'd like to talk to you about an example of when I have to be an emotional container for my son, Alex. Alex, when he initially came to me, was very agitated if I was even 1 minute late. He is a teenage boy and he has a cell phone. He would text me when I was on my way, "Where are you?" Now, I wasn't even late yet, and I told him I'm on my way. He texted me back, "How much longer?" Said, "I'll be there in a couple of minutes, Alex." "You're mad dumb. Why are you always late?" "Alex, I'm not late. I will be there. Perhaps I will be a minute or two late, but I am coming." "You're dumb. You're dumb. Forget it. I don't even need a ride. I don't know why you're not texting me back. You're stupid." "Alex, I have to wait till I'm at the red light. I will be there." "Forget it. I don't even need you anyway. I'm just gonna walk. Forget it. Just forget it. Don't even bother to come." And of course, I continued to drive there, and within just a few minutes, I was there. I was no more than a couple of minutes late, but in Alex's world, I had abandoned him. He was way outside of his window of containment. He was angry, furious. He got in the car and he started to call me names. And I calmly said, "Alex, I'm sorry you're so agitated that I was late. I know you were worried." "I wasn't worried. You just don't care, and I don't care. It doesn't matter anymore." I said, "I will try to always be on time. Sometimes I may be late, but I will always come for you, Alex." By the time we arrived home, he said, "I don't know why I freaked out like that." I said, "It's okay, Alex. I know you were worried." Now, a lot of parents would have been very angry and felt that he was disrespectful in the way he was talking to me, but I knew he could not contain himself in that moment. And because I remained calm, he was able to recognize his behavior and realize that he had said some hurtful things. Did I get the full apology that I would have loved? No. But he did acknowledge and recognize that his behavior was over the edge. Over time,
Alex has learned to be calm and ask me nicely when I'll be coming. He realizes that I'm always coming for him. We've established that pattern, and he can now contain himself. But in that moment, I needed to be his emotional container.
This marks the end of this podcast. For more information about the resource.
So let's kind of talk a little bit about Alex, what his story may be. His story may have been a trauma-filled childhood of neglect. Birth parents may have neglected him in such a way that caused him to now not trust as easily as others. And sometimes our kids, even when they begin to trust, they'll revert back and have memories of that neglect and will put themselves back or think back to what that felt like. And when there's one situation or circumstance that could possibly send them back into that trauma, they react. And we have to hold space for them and be that emotional container and understand where these thoughts and this behavior is coming from. There's a need that's not being met, or there's a need, a new need that could have come up. And operating from that downstairs brain, there is no reasoning. And so Alex had a need, and his need was to ensure that their mom was coming. Everyone understood the need. However, Alex, even though she reassured him several times that she was on the way, she's 2 minutes away, I'm 1 minute away, that did not take away the feeling that I'm alone. I'm not here. I need her to be here with me now. The anxiety, the fear took over Alex. So while it's very important that we hold space for our children, we must also make it a priority to care for ourselves. We aid our children in regulating big, strong emotions that are sometimes likely felt because of their history of trauma. Our kids need their cups filled often, but we know the saying all too well, we can't pour from an empty cup. How do we get our cups filled? I'm so glad you asked. Let's start with becoming aware of our own emotions. What did it feel like when Alex called me those names, or when he accused me of leaving him or not being there for him? We get in our feelings as parents that we didn't do something right. We weren't perfect enough, weren't good enough. We failed. So spending time with others, being aware of our own emotions, spending time with others that are positive and encouraging, increase your sleep time, and then keep your body active. This aids in improving your mental health. And pick up a hobby. Plan short getaways, even if it's for a couple of hours. Create affirmation walls, something that reminds you that you are a good parent. Say no to overextending yourself. Ask for help. And last, give yourself some grace. Our kids pay attention to how we self-care, and when we don't, whether we realize it or not, we model behaviors and habits that can influence our child for a lifetime. Dr. Bruce Perry shared this: a dysregulated parent cannot regulate a dysregulated child. A crucial part of trauma-informed parenting is recognizing that you are the major tool for healing for your child. But if you don't take care of yourself, you will never be able to help your child the way that you want to. So never feel bad about taking time for yourself. Health and welfare of the parent creates a whole healing environment for the child. Parenting children with a history of trauma is challenging. Most times, their development and chronological age are so off track with each other. We can be looking at a 16-year-old and the behaviors of an 8-year-old. And we have to remember that their brain growth, their sensory processing, their attachment styles have all been disrupted. Most times, the first response is to be dysregulated. Recovery and resilience. So to summarize this portion, Dr. Perry teaches about recovery and resilience. It happens when increased relational interactions take place. In essence, a village of support, a village that is positive and encouraging individuals, that is a source of healing, not just for your child, but for you as well. So remember to fill your cup with all the good and positive that you can. Find your village. Become better at receiving care because there is only one you. Thank you all for allowing me to share time and space with you.